I've got London Real guests, former London Real guests, hundreds of them, sending me direct messages saying, Brian, what's going on with crypto? I take my kids now to school and the parents pull me aside and say, hey, Brian, tell me about how I can get involved in this crypto. I kid you not, from my daughter to my mom to all my instructors, they're all pulling me aside and saying, Brian, how can I get involved in the crypto? And I tell them all the same thing. Join my Defy Academy. Now is the time to get involved. What's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago or today? Don't wait any longer. Educate yourself and get involved. We've got people that have started our academy with zero crypto trading experience. We can get you started right away. You just need to start. The thing about Bitcoin is your first one is the hardest to buy. Once you get in, you're hooked. And yes, there will be volatility. The problem is most people can't handle volatility. Right now, everything is good. You're in Vegas and everything's coming up. You're betting on black and everything's coming up black and the drinks are flowing and you got tickets for Cirque du Soleil and it's all good. When Solana retraces by 30 or 40% and Cardano does the same, will you have the trading discipline? Will you have the stop losses? Will you have the peer group to remind you of our 8 basic trading steps? Will you have me to ask questions for? That's when it gets difficult. And that's why people need basic education. You need a peer group, you need mentorship, you need principles to trade these things. I want to get the right group of people around me so we can create the most wealth as possible and affect the most people as possible. Decentralized finance is already revolutionizing the world of finance. You just don't know it yet.
What happens to the world economy when you bring 6 billion new people online? What happens to poverty across the world when you can extend financial services, opportunity, credit, liquidity?
The greatest dislocation of wealth in human history. What are you going to do? What's the choice that you're going to make? Welcome to DeFi Live. My name is Brian Rose. I'm the founder and host of London Real, and this is our program dedicated to everything known as DeFi or decentralized finance. This is a $9 trillion a year marketplace that's just waiting to kick off. Here, I'm going to teach you how to profit from DeFi and what I'm calling the greatest dislocation of wealth in human history. Today's show is specifically about advanced options trading. Yes, options, those complicated, highly risky instruments that a lot of my students are using right now. Today, I'm going to teach you how to maximize your gains using call and put strategies. I'm going to go through the Greek letters, the deltas, the vegas, the thetas, the gammas. I was trading options back in 1994 on Wall Street on a big way. Hundreds of millions of dollars a day we would trade. And I'm going to try to give you some of the learnings I have from understanding these concepts for over 30 years and how I can apply them to crypto and you, because a lot of my students are making money on options, and I want to share that with you today. So again, great to have you here. Please like this video, subscribe, share, leave me a comment right now because this is live and they're going straight to my iPad and I'm going to read them off with your names as we go through here. Again, I couldn't be more excited. The crypto markets are popping off. The rally is on. Bitcoin's breaking 51,000. Ethereum's breaking 4,000. And who knows, we could break our all-time highs in the next 30 to 60 days. It's very exciting. But what's more exciting is that DeFi or decentralized finance is becoming a reality. So no longer is Bitcoin just a thing we can trade between each other. There are now an entire host of various crypto assets that have real functionality. They're going to change our lives. They're going to change the very fabric of our lives. And that's why we're so excited. And that's why we're going all in. Today, I want to talk about options because they're misunderstood. Most people fear them, but a lot of my students are using them and making a lot of money right now. And I just want to shout out some of my students. I couldn't be more excited with our DeFi Academy. But again, right now, I've got students that are just posting their gains for the last 30 days. I got Brendan in New Zealand who's up 69%. Great job, buddy. I'm super excited. I got Steve from Europe up 83% on the month. I've got Albert in Singapore up 169%. And I've got Susan who's up 153%. That's $11,000 she made on her option trades alone. Another student made 442% on one coin, and another student made 139% on another single coin. And Steve sent me this message last week. He said, "Thanks a lot, Brian. It's been a great learning journey for me so far. Thanks to you and your DeFi Academy and the group, I have applied the principles from the course mixed with my own crypto space knowledge and investment intuition. I would have never had the focus and discipline without this course. Thank you." He's referring to our DeFi Academy. I'll talk about that later. But today I want to talk about this. Number one, and part one is going to be options, basics, and fundamentals. If you don't know what an option is, it's okay. I'm going to bring you up to speed. I'm going to explain what a call is and what a put is. And don't worry, this took me a while to figure out. And I learned at MIT from some of the best professors in the world, and it still took me weeks and months and even years to really understand these concepts. So the best time to start is now, and I'm going to get you started today. Part two, I'm going to talk about the Greeks. Some of you have heard about these Greek letters that we use in option trading. I'm going to talk about delta, gamma, theta, and vega. Again, it's not as complicated as you think it is. And once you start trading it, it becomes very, very fundamental. And number three, in part three, I'm going to tell you specific options strategies for maximum gains that my students are using right now. And I'm talking about things like being long calls, short puts, covered calls, bull spreads, strangles, digital options, and more. I'm going to cover everything today. So stay with me. Leave me a comment below. I'm going to be reading out your questions because this is going to be a fun episode. I couldn't be more excited. Before we get started, I just want to say I am not a financial advisor and nothing in this video should be considered financial advice. All right, let's start off. When it comes to options, don't let them intimidate you. All right, options are much easier than you think. Once you understand a few of the basic fundamentals, trading them becomes second nature and an excellent tool to make great gains alongside your long positions in various currencies and cryptocurrencies. But you must be aware they are highly risky, and you always must assume all of your capital is risk. Also, options on crypto are not allowed in some regions and states and countries. So check with your local legislation and always follow the law. Just be aware of it. And again, always assume all of your capital is risk. All right, let me tell you a quick story briefly before we jump into it and I get into the news and who's going to be here this week and we get into options. When I was a student at MIT, I was 20 years old, and I took an options course at the Sloan School of Management, where all the MBA types would be. And here's a picture of what we call Lobby 7 at MIT. Of course, every building has a number. It doesn't have a name to it because we're a bunch of dorks. But this is the building I would walk into every single day. And even though I was a bit of a punk back then, and even though I was a bit cynical, I still, when I walked into that Lobby 7, I would look at the ceiling, and that picture doesn't do it justice because there's like a stained glass piece at the top that's like, lit from the inside. And I was always very proud to be in such an institution with such a great history and that pushed me to my limit every day. And that's what it did. It really pushed me. And I remember learning options, and I thought I was pretty smart. I was studying mechanical engineering. The concept itself was much simpler than some of the concepts I was trying to learn in particle physics or dynamics or thermodynamics or fluid dynamics. That was really complicated. But the options took me weeks and months to get. And I remember it was one night about 2 a.m. I was in Lobby 7 in one of the classrooms upstairs, and these were old school where they had these old radiators that would keep it hot. And it was probably snowing outside in Boston, and we would open the window to cool down. And I was studying there late with one of my buddies, and we were drawing it on the chalkboard. They had chalk back then, trying to figure out what these little hockey stick things look like that I'm going to share with you. And then finally, it hit me, and I said, I get it. I get it. So again, sometimes this stuff takes time. The more you talk about it, the more it will start to soak into your DNA. And like my students, sometimes they get it in the shower. Sometimes they get it when they're cooking dinner. Sometimes they get it when they're driving their kids to school, and then it finally clicks. So just give it time, keep studying, apply it, try a few small trades, and it's going to come to you. All right. Before we get started, let me talk about the news. We have seen a massive crypto rally. All right. It's great to see cryptos hitting their all-time highs. Bitcoin has broke $51,000. It was up a couple percent in even 24 hours. Ethereum has broke $4,000. And it looks like this is going to be a hot summer, and we couldn't be more excited. We've also seen cryptos like Solana hit some incredible new highs, and Avalanche both have gained over 10% in the last couple periods of 24 hours. These are exciting times, but again, this rally doesn't feel like the one in May where there wasn't necessarily a lot behind it and it came crashing down. This feels like people and institutions and the world is starting to realize that decentralized finance is part of our future as human beings. It means financial freedom to all of us. It means over 2 billion people in this world that are unbanked can get basic access to borrowing and lending via the blockchain and crypto. There's a reason for this. We can also see in Europe now you can use crypto to pay for your parking in many places. And we've got websites like shop.com now have announced their support for accepting cryptocurrency, along with PayPal and PayPal here in the UK as well. Trust me, this is happening. It's not too late, but you want to get in on this right now. Don't wait until 2022 when it could be too late. This week, we are committed, as usual, to be broadcasting live the top players in the crypto and DeFi space. On Wednesday, we've got Sandeep Nalwal, the founder of Polygon, which is a scaling solution that is built around the Ethereum blockchain, and it's used for developing other decentralized apps. Current market capitalization, only about $11 billion. And on Thursday, we've got Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, a market cap just under $100 billion. Some consider this is the network that's going to take over Ethereum. We couldn't be more excited to have Charles here. He's probably the single most important voice in the cryptocurrency and DeFi space, and we're very excited to have him here, and we appreciate all the broadcasting he does and all the work that he's done on the Cardano blockchain. Very exciting stuff happening there as well. The last bit of news is our Defy Academy is closing in the next 24 hours. At this time tomorrow, I will be broadcasting live from this studio, but only to my students, a small group of people from countries around the world that have decided to spend the next 4 weeks educating themselves in the future of finance. They're working on creating generational wealth for themselves and financial freedom for the rest of the world. And I couldn't be more excited. If you want to learn more about our DeFi Academy before we shut this thing down, go to londonreal.tv/DeFi, submit your application. I'll talk more about that later. It's exciting, it's exclusive, and we are changing people's lives, and they're making money literally in the first 30 days. It's an exciting time. You want to get in on crypto now. That's my advice for you. All right, let's talk about trading, because when it comes to trading, I think a lot like the ancient Chinese general. You probably heard of him. His name is Sun Tzu. And Sun Tzu had a famous quote, and I like to repeat it over and over again. And you'll probably see it coming up here on the screen. And he says this: every battle is won before it's ever fought. Think about that. Every battle is won before it's ever fought. And I couldn't agree more with this very intelligent general, in that if you look at all of the battles you fight in your life, they're always fought before, in your preparation, in your planning, in your strategy, in your education. And so what I'm about to teach you and what I teach inside my DeFi Academy are trading philosophies, disciplines, and strategies that I've adopted over the past 30 years. Yep, I'm that old, and they're real and they work. I have seen and been through pretty much everything. I've seen Russian ruble crisis, Asian crisis. I've seen the credit markets crash. I've seen everything. And I've watched what happens in the equity markets, foreign exchange markets, fixed income markets, and of course, crypto markets. And I teach trading philosophies in order to create double-digit long-term portfolio gains inside my academy. I'm talking 10, 20 years of gains. And that's what I teach inside my DeFi Academy, based on what I learned sitting next to some of the greatest traders in the world in New York City, in Chicago, as well as in the pits at the Chicago Board of Trade and the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and here in London, where I worked in the credit markets for almost 10 years before I started London Real. Honestly, I feel like I've been preparing my whole life for teaching inside the DeFi Academy, and I couldn't be more excited today to talk about our subject, which is advanced crypto options trading, how you can maximize your gains using call and put option strategies. Look, we already know that Forbes magazine recently said that this will shift the structure of the whole financial system at a macroeconomic level. And the truth is simply this: Decentralized finance is already revolutionizing the world. You just don't know it yet. Now, this incredible marketplace is growing at a breakneck speed. It's going to generate trillions of dollars in revenue and give financial freedom back to the 6 billion people who don't have proper access to financial markets. Most people don't, not to mention the 2 billion people that don't even have any access to financial markets. We call them the unbanked, which is why me and my team have gone all in on DeFi and plan to for the next 10 years with 2 goals in mind. 1, I want to create generational wealth for my students. 2, I want to give financial freedom back to the people. I think they can be and only be done simultaneously. You want to create value for yourself and for other people. It's the beautiful thing about capitalism, and that's what we're doing here today. So today, I want to talk about 3 things. First, I want to talk about options, basics, and fundamentals on the screen here. You'll see a simple call and put option. And again, don't turn this video off if those words even scare you or if the diagram scare you, because I'm going to walk you through this. It's actually quite simple. And I'm going to walk you through how to price it and how to trade it. Here's a quick screenshot, something I share with my students inside my academy, which is one of the exchanges where we buy and sell our call options. This is a place called Deribit, but there are many, many out there. Again, it looks complicated, but it actually isn't, especially if you have mentorship, if you have training videos, and if you have a peer group that you can continue to be in touch with for the long term. And that's what we do inside my academy and inside what I call my DeFi investment wizards. That's a whole nother topic. But today I'm going to talk about what is an option. I'm going to talk about premiums, expiration dates, strike prices, and the difference between a call and a put option. Again, really briefly, you can see on the screen here, this is the payout structure for a call option. Again, what you can see about this is you have upside that's potentially unlimited, where your downside is capped. Of course, you pay for that. And of course, a put option here, where you'll see on screen where when you own one of those things, that you've actually got almost unlimited downside with a fixed upside. And again, if you trade that intelligently, you can use this for gains as well. Lastly, one of the concepts I'm going to talk about is whether an option is in the money or out of the money. You might have heard that terminology, and you can see a graph here. All it means that is if your strike price is at the current price of the asset, your crypto asset, for example. So if it's Bitcoin and it's trading at 51,000 and you have a call option on Bitcoin struck at 51,000, that's an at the money call. If your asset price is above your strike price, it's in the money. And if it's below, then it's out of the money. It's fairly simple, and I'm going to walk through it today. And finally, I'm going to talk about how to price those options. Here, you can see a quick graph here of what an option value is versus what we call the intrinsic value. And again, I'll touch on that more. We go deep into this inside my DeFi Academy and in our secondary course called Kings of DeFi Advanced Trading Protocols. And I'll talk more about that later. Again, don't get intimidated. I always like to say, if you look at some of these incredible Formula One race car drivers, they don't necessarily understand the physics of what actually happens inside the engine. They don't understand necessarily the material science of why the tire grips the road. But some of these drivers, they can get the best performance out of that car. They don't need to know exactly what goes under the hood. Same with you. When you use the internet, you don't know what HTTPS / is on the front of your browser. You just know that when you type it in, you get to your website. So again, don't be intimidated by the science or the details. A lot of people out there want to intimidate you. I don't want to do that. I want you to understand this is a simple instrument. Options have been around since the beginning of time. And as long as humans have been here, we love options, and they're everywhere around us. And I'm going to talk to you about them today. All right, part 2, I'm going to get into something called options Greeks. And again, don't be intimidated here. I'm going to give you a simple explanation, and I'm going to go through things like delta, gamma, vega, and theta. And these are all ways of understanding your option and being able to talk about them and understand them. Again, it might sound complicated, but once you actually trade the option, it's not. And again, I don't want to intimidate you with a formula, but all of this is based on something called the Black-Scholes options pricing formula, which I think was finally published in 1977. This is something that will be referred to by a lot of Wall Street traders and pit traders in Chicago. This is the complicated formula behind the option. But one of the most important things about this formula that was a breakthrough when it came out in the 70s is that the price of an option is quite simple. It's based on only a few things: the current price of the asset, the strike price, the time to expiration, and the volatility of the underlying market. And that, knowing that alone is a great way to simplify options trading. Back in the day, we used to think it might have something to do with the rate of growth of the market. It actually doesn't. It's got something to do with those simple pieces, and that will help us understand options. Next, I'll get into what delta is. Again, it's a great way of expressing how much in or out of the money the option is. And of course, finally, I'll talk about something called theta, which is time decay. Again, I'll walk you through it to it'll make much more sense. And finally, we'll get into an incredible concept called vega. And again, I'll throw in this three-dimensional graph here. It basically means that as volatility increases, the price of your option increases. And again, it's just a fundamental that you can go to understand. The last part of today's module on advanced option trading is going to go into crypto trades for maximum gains. And on the screen here, you'll see some of the basic, simple option strategies you can put up, which includes being long a call, short a call, long a put, and short a put. Again, these are very simple diagrams that explain how you can either own or be short some basic option strategies. And again, just to get you in touch with the Wall Street lingo, being long something means owning something, and being short something means being selling that or being actually short that position. And that's all that lingo means, and I'll go through that today. Again, I'll walk through some of these strategies, again, to show it up there. A lot of my students are having some money right now where they're short put options, and that profit and loss looks something like this on screen. Also, they're long call options as well. They're doing this on assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum and making some good money. And again, if you want to put it all together on the same graph, you can see those both expressed. And again, this is a way of making money by being bullish on the price of these underlying cryptocurrencies. Again, a lot of people in crypto and DeFi believe they're going to make money in the long run. And a lot of them own these coins, but they want to actually add to those gains by using options. And finally, I'll cover a couple more complicated strategies like a bull spread. This is where you buy a call option and sell a call option at the same time and pay a little bit less of a premium. You can see that graph on screen as well. And again, lastly, I want to talk about something called a covered call. This can be a really good strategy when you own Bitcoin, for example, and you think it's going to trade in a range and you think, you know what, how can I make some extra premium without having a lot of downside? You can sell call options against that. It's called a covered call. Lastly, I'll finish off with all the complicated, crazy sounding option names like strangles and straddles and butterflies and condors and barrier options. Again, I'll try to make those simple and we'll get down to it. So if you're still with me, I appreciate that. And again, we're going to make this simple. Of course, you can watch this video back again later. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on our website at londonreal.tv. We are here every day to educate as much as possible when it comes to this stuff as well. Now I need questions from you. I know we got our Zoom audience here who's live in studio with me. Turn your cameras on. Give me a wave here. If you're on Zoom, I'm going to throw you on screen here. I appreciate everybody being here on Zoom. You guys are going to get first priority when it comes to your questions, so leave them in the comments right now. But I still got love for people on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and everyone here. So answer the questions. I'm going to answer these live. I'm going to call out your name as well. First of all, how do you rank yourself as a trader from 1 to 10? All right, 10 being the Terminator, the Gordon Gekko, and 1 being a complete newbie who loses money on a regular basis. Tell me that and tell me what is your single biggest challenge. Second, tell me, do you struggle with poor discipline? Do you get emotional about trading? Tell me why and how. Third, tell me, have you ever traded crypto or DeFi options? And if so, did you make money? And what are your questions? And lastly, answer this question from me. Would you like to learn from us about DeFi and how to profit from the greatest dislocation of wealth in human history? So that's my question for you. Before we get started, I get in tons of DMs. I'm getting blown up on Instagram. People are sending me emails. They're sending me messages on Facebook and on YouTube. They're saying, Brian, what is going on with this Defy Academy? Everybody says it's the greatest program they've ever taken. It's hot, and it is. Well, this is the deal. If you go to londonreal.tv/DeFi, you will see everything you need to know about our DeFi Academy. And the screen will pop up. It'll look something like this. This is our third class, and we are closing this thing down in the next few hours. This is your chance to create generational wealth based on a change that is happening right now. What you saw on screen was a short application to apply and become part of our academy. And I want you to join me, and I want to teach you how to profit from this incredible dislocation of wealth in human history. I'm looking for a small group of people, serious individuals, who want to become part of and actively participate in this upcoming DeFi revolution. I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. It starts literally in a few hours' time. We have limited spaces available. It's an application-only basis, but I read every application personally. So if you go now, I'll literally read it when I'm out of this chair. The DeFi Academy itself consists of 4 weeks, 4 modules, 8 hours of live calls with me personally. Again, it's incredible. It's personal coaching and mentorship by me. It's exclusive access to our e-learning platform, and it's like 12 or 15 individual training videos, which I'll show you today. You've got my triple-tiered accountability system that I've developed over the last 7 years of teaching people live online. I've been doing this for a while. Also, I've got about 10 or 12 dedicated coaches, team leaders, community managers that work with you every single day. You've got a private group for posting assignments. And then, of course, you've got a community you can stay in touch with for the next 10 years that will keep you honest when it comes to trading. But we are running out of time. We have limited spaces available left, and this is massively oversubscribed. But I want the best. So please apply. Tell me who you are. I've got complete newbies who have never even bought a single Bitcoin. And I've got people that have literally been in this market for 2013. I've got people with their own crypto funds, people with their own DeFi apps, and people that literally don't even know what a coin is. So we appreciate that. All I need is really good energy. I need someone who can positively contribute to this community. That's what I'm looking for. And the response has been incredible. The reviews are off the charts. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. And if you come and submit your application and I review it and I approve you, then you're going to get one of these in your inbox. And it looks like this. This is your notice that your application to be part of the DeFi Academy has been successful. If you get one of these, click the link, pull out that plastic, bang in those digits, and join us. You'll be on a live call with me within hours. You'll get access to our platform, access to our community. You'll start reading the modules and watching the modules, and you'll start literally trading almost immediately. I couldn't be more excited about this. But one thing I do want to say is that there's certain people I do not want in my academy, and you might be one of them. So please, I do not want you to apply. Save your time and save my time, and don't waste our time, because the following people I do not want in my academy. The DeFi Academy is not for crypto day traders. Please go somewhere else. 90% of you lose money, and that's not what this is for. I don't believe you should be trading crypto on a daily basis. I think it's ridiculous. So please go somewhere else. This academy is not for people that are trying to get rich quick. Please go somewhere else. There are plenty of people in the crypto space that want to sell you some way to get rich quick. I am in this for the next 10 years. I want people that are thinking in a long term, that want to create generational wealth, and that takes time and intelligence. Next, I'm not looking for people into meme coins and internet trolls. Please waste your time somewhere else. And I'm not looking for blockchain fanboys or crypto academics that want to talk about the science, the philosophy, all the beautiful theory behind these coins. I'm looking for people that want to pull the trigger and get into the arena. So if that is you, then come and join us. Again, click on the link or go to londonreal.tv/DeFi. We are closing this course out soon. If you want to be a part of history and be a part of this incredible marketplace, go submit your application, try it out. I will read it personally. And again, we've accepted a ton of different people from 22 years old to 76 years old, I think. I think we're in 40 countries around the world, and we couldn't be more excited. Lastly, if you want, you can also go and download for free our 8-step trading checklist. It looks something like this on the screen, but go to londonreal.tv/DeFi and you can download that. It's our free gift to you. Step number 4 is one of the most important ones my students are executing, and that's once you have profit in a trade, never let it become a loss. All right, let's jump into today's teaching. I want to talk about options. By the way, if you're watching me, leave me a question below. Tell me, how do you rank yourself as a trader from 1 to 10? Tell me, have you traded crypto or DeFi options? Tell me, do you struggle with poor discipline? Tell me how I can help you. Ask me those questions. I'm going to come to you directly. All right, let's talk about basic options and fundamentals. On the screen, you're going to see a call and a put payout diagram. All right, these are the building blocks of options. This is it, a call and a put. If you understand these two, that means you can pretty much get 90% of what you want done when it comes to options trading. These are the basics. And again, before we get started, options are everywhere in our life as humans. We love optionality and we give it out to people all the time. When you reserve a place for dinner and make a reservation at a restaurant, that's an option. You can go there and buy dinner and have a great meal, or you can not show up. That's the form of an option. When you have insurance on your home or life insurance, that's actually a put option. On the horrible off chance that you die, someone's going to give you a payout. There are options everywhere in our life. So it's time to get comfortable with them, and it's time to stop hating on and vilifying derivatives and options, because they're just ways of packaging and customizing risk. And that's what I want to teach you about today. And again, my students buy and sell call options and put options all the time. This is an example of them trading options here on Deribit, which is an exchange. One of the many places my students use. These are call options and put options. And again, you see a lot of numbers and it might look complicated. It actually isn't complicated. And that's why today I want to walk you through the basics of why this is not complicated and what you need to understand. All right. Again, what is an option? An option gives you the right, but not the obligation, to buy or sell an asset in the future at a specific price. Let me say that again. An option is your option to, but not your obligation, to buy or sell an asset at a certain price in the future. And that optionality is what makes this different than just owning a cryptocurrency or being short a cryptocurrency asset. There are some basic factors involved in the price of an option or what makes an option valuable, and I want to talk about that right now. First of all, the time period is really important. If I own an option that expires tomorrow, it's going to be worth a lot less than if I own an option that expires in 30 days or a year. Just look at what's happened to Bitcoin in the last year. It's gone up by 5 or 10 times the amount in price in a year. Now, you probably would have had a hard time predicting that, which means the longer you have as an option, the more value, because there's more uncertainty. And since you always have the option of exercising it, your downside is always completely limited by the premium you pay up front. And that's my second point that I want to talk about, and that is the premium. The premium is the amount of money you pay to have that option. It's also, if you buy an option, it's the maximum you're going to lose on a trade. And that can help you manage your risk. So again, the premium is the amount of money you pay to have that option to exercise in the future. The next thing we want to talk about is a strike price. And again, I showed that document earlier about strike prices, and I'll show it shortly. That's where we're going to buy or sell that option in the future. And then finally, you have a call option or a put option. The call is the right to buy something. The put option is the right to sell. And let me quickly go through those right now. And I'll show a diagram on the screen. This is a diagram of being long a call option. This is my right to buy something in the future. And as you can see from this diagram, when it comes to, say, Bitcoin, for example, if I have the right to buy Bitcoin in the future and it goes to 100,000, double the current price, well, I'm going to have a lot of upside. But if I choose not to exercise that option in the future, I'm going to have a limited downside. And that's why that graph spikes if the price goes up, and it stays fixed as the price goes down. That's the essence of a call option. It's a very important thing to understand. In contrary is a put option, and you can see that diagram on screen. A put option means that someone has the right to sell that instrument in the future. So you can see that, for example, if Bitcoin goes to zero, you can see from this diagram here that you've got a lot of potential profit or loss if something drops in price. But if something goes up in price, it's actually quite limited, because you're only going to exercise a put option if the price drops significantly. So it's important to kind of understand these basics. Again, in my DeFi Academy, in Module 3, in Week 3, all of my students go ahead and, if it's legal in their area, buy a call option on Ethereum. And I have them do that so they can just get a feel for what it's like to trade something like that, even if it's only a very small size. Once you actually watch that thing and see it go in and out of the money, you can really have a feel for how that instrument can change rapidly in value when the price goes up, or can go to zero when the price goes down in the form of a call option. So again, the best way to do this is to trade it And that's exactly what I teach in my academy. Let's talk about strike price, because you probably heard these terms of an option being at the money, in the money, or out of the money. And there's a diagram I'll put here up on screen that kind of shows what that means. And let me give you an example of where Bitcoin is right now, about 51,000. If I have and own an option, say a call option, with a strike price of 51,000, that is an at the money option. It means right now, if I exercise it, it's not worth anything. Now, if that strike price is lower than the current price of the option, or that option is in the money, it means if I exercised it right now, I could exercise it and get a profit. So say, for example, I owned a Bitcoin option, struck at 50,000. It would be about $1,000 in the money. That's an in the money option. And of course, an out of the money option is an option that right now would expire worthless. Say I owned an option right now, a call option on Bitcoin at $60,000. It's pretty far out of the money, which means I'm only going to make money on that piece if Bitcoin happens to rally, which it could. So again, typically, the more out of the money the option is, the cheaper it is. The more in the money an option is, the more expensive it is, and the more it actually behaves like the underlying instruments. So that should explain that a little bit more. A little bit more that I want to talk about when it comes to pricing an option is we can look at something called the option value, or what we call an intrinsic value. So I'll stick this graph on screen here. And this looks like a call option to me, or an option where it gains in value if you have the right to buy it in the future. And we can see that there's an intrinsic value there, that hockey stick, but there's actually a price of the option. And that's because as long as the option still has time left, it always is worth a little bit more than the underlying actual value of the option if I exercised it. And that's the one final important lesson to understand about options. Having the time is one of the most important issues with an option. You always want more time with an option. You know, I would rather have an option that expires a week from now than a day from now, because anything could happen tomorrow. Amazon could announce it's accepting Bitcoin. Apple Pay could announce that it's accepting Bitcoin and Ethereum. Google could announce that it's accepting Bitcoin and Ethereum. That press announcement could happen any day from now. And let me ask you a question. Would you like to be owning Bitcoin or Ethereum, or owning call options before that announcement or after that announcement? It's a simple question. My point is this: there's a lot of volatility in these markets, and the longer your option period, the more chance you have of making money off that option. And since you've already paid the premium and you have a fixed downside, that's why we always want options that are longer. And we always want to understand that the more time we have for things to happen in the market, the more valuable our option becomes. So those are some basics, introductions to options. I'm going to get into more on how these things behave and some of the Greeks. I'm going to go to your questions right now. Tell me, how do you rank yourself as a trader from 1 to 10? 1 being complete noob, 10 being Gordon Gekko or the Terminator. And tell me, what is your single biggest challenge? 2, do you struggle with poor discipline? Do you get emotional about trading? And tell me, how does that affect your decisions? 3rd, have you ever traded crypto or DeFi options? Did you make money? And what questions do you have for me? And finally, would you like to learn from us inside the DeFi Academy in what I'm calling the greatest transformation of wealth in human history? We got some great comments here today. The best thing that's going on today is I got Shannon the Cannon Briggs, former heavyweight boxer, here live with us online. And Shannon says the one thing I would always hope Shannon to say to me, which is, let's go, champ. So what's up, champ? Let's go, champ. We had Shannon here in studio a couple of years ago. Big love to Shannon and the crew. Shannon literally showed up in the studio with a boombox and music playing with this whole crew. He literally came in the building that way and walked around our studios for a while yelling, let's go, champ. One of the first things I say to myself in my morning affirmations, Shannon, this is for you, brother, is I say, let's go, champ, out loud to myself as I'm walking down the street when I say my affirmations in the morning. And that's because of you, Shannon Briggs. We love you and we appreciate you. And again, just for the record, I've got London Real guests, former London Real guests, hundreds of them, sending me direct messages saying, Brian, what's going on with crypto? I take my kids now to school and the parents pull me aside and say, hey, Brian, tell me about how I can get involved in this crypto. I kid you not. Everybody's coming out of the woodwork, from my daughter to my mom to all my instructors. They're all pulling me aside and saying, Brian, how can I get involved in the crypto? And I tell them all the same thing. Join my DeFi Academy. That's how to learn. But yes, now is the time to get involved. Again, there was that old Chinese expression, what's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago or today. Don't wait any longer. Educate yourself and get involved. All right, questions coming out here. This is a crazy, crazy broadcast. We got people on Zoom here as well. By the way, I want to give a shout out to my friends at Zoom. Turn your cameras on and give me a wave here. This is our in-studio audience showing the love. Everybody on Zoom gets priority. If you want to be on Zoom, then tell me what's going on here. And it's all good as well. Before we get started, actually in the next module, I'll play that video. Right now, I want to answer the question for Angel Dermansky on Instagram, who said, just watch your interview with Ben Armstrong. That's BitBoy Crypto. Let's go Cardano. That's what Angel said. Angel, it's amazing. And of course, we got Charles here, the founder of Cardano, in just a couple days. We couldn't be more excited. We own Cardano here at London Real, and we're super excited about this new blockchain. So thanks, Angel. Appreciate you. I got Ronald El Mahoud on Instagram that says, I like the Mooch interview. Ronald is referring to Anthony Scaramucci, who was live here in studio on Friday. We love the Mooch. He runs, I think, nearly $10 billion of capital for the fund Skybridge. He owns over $1 billion of Bitcoin. He has an Ethereum fund now. The Mooch was here in studio February last year before the lockdown. And he had some great ways of looking at Bitcoin. And the Mooch is all in. He famously had an 11-day career in the White House. And we appreciate the Mooch. And thanks for watching, Ronald. We appreciate it. Everybody's getting involved in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it's time for you to get involved now. I got I Am Sphinx on Instagram. It says, Charles will be a great guest. We're super excited for Hoskinson. So tune in live here on Thursday for that. We've got GM Rohit on Instagram. It says, hey, Brian, what do you think about Ethereum's future? I'm a big fan of Ethereum. We've been buying Ethereum here ever since we started the DeFi Academy down in the low 2000s. We want to continue buying here. We see a lot of upside in Ethereum. You know, Ethereum is DeFi, if you really think about it. We definitely believe in Bitcoin. We think it's the digital gold. We think it's digital property, as Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy, said to me when he was here in studio just a couple weeks ago. But we think Ethereum is where all of the decentralized financed applications will be, until, of course, Cardano launches smart contracts and Solana gets on board and all these other things happen. But we're big fans of Ethereum. We don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. We appreciate the work they're doing. And most of the trades that my students are transacting right now inside my DeFi Academy are based on Ethereum because they're yield swapping, their liquidity pools, and all of those things are happening. By the way, the gong was just hit here inside London Real Studios. I'll post an Instagram video of that later, which means someone has just joined the DeFi Accelerator. That was Magdalena D, just joined us. Magdalena, super excited to have you here. I need you to get inside the e-learning platform right now, go through Module 0, that's philosophies and mindset, then get into Module 1, which is the history of cryptocurrency, and then I'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. for our live Zoom call. Get in the Facebook group, upload your intro video. We've got an incredible class here. It's probably one of our best classes ever. So thanks, Magdalena. Excited for you. A couple more questions here before I get into part 2 of advanced options trading. We got Chris Endez on Instagram that says simply, always love your suits, bro. Thank you, Chris. Look, you can come for the suits. You can come for the crypto. As long as you're here, we appreciate you. So thanks so much. We're trying to represent. And again, we're trying to get as many eyeballs on cryptocurrency and decentralized finance because we believe it's the future. We know it is. In our gut, in our DNA, we can feel something's happening here, and we're super excited. So thank you. Mr. Rock83 on Instagram says, in a similar vein, you're looking great. Thank you very much. Tell my wife that my dress sense is good. I got Krista Haru on YouTube says, nice tie, Brian. Thank you very much. We got Seneca Sanus on Instagram saying, everything you do amazes me. Thank you. And Senka, we're just channeling some greater energy out there. We are super excited to be in this ecosystem. It's great positive energy. It's changing people's lives. It's giving people back financial freedom. So we're riding a wave of vibration that honestly, we can't even explain sometimes. We can't even take credit. We're just happy to be a part of it. So thank you so much. We've got that guy Kamzi on Instagram that says, Brian, what are your thoughts on XRP? That's Ripple. It's a great question. You know what? The gong just hit again. So that's another person that just joined the DeFi Academy. Aaron C. just joined. Great to have you here. And again, for people that want to know, go to londonreal.tv/DeFi, submit your application. I'll read it right after this. But we're shutting this course down. So the time to join is right now. Let's get back to Ripple. Honestly, Ripple is still a player. It's in the top 10 when it comes to market capitalizations. Obviously, They had some issues with the SEC and some legal issues that have kept them out of the news and have kept people wondering what's going on. But, clearly by market cap, there's something going on here. There's a real utility, and a lot of our guests have spoken highly about that.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.